This is the Third Wheel Theory, a podcast where two of us know what's going on and the other is just here for the ride. I'm Harper, and these two losers are Frank and Sam.
Last week, we talked about an American TV show called House MD, and Frank and Harper attempted to convince me to watch it. And you should go listen if you want to find out if they were successful or not.
So Frank, you're British. We're not, so we're really gonna try to embarrass you with this one.
The Americans have teamed up to write an episode about Britcom, thinking they know better than I do, even though I grew up on it and briefly worked in it.
So Sam and I are about to embarrass ourselves by acting like we know anything. Let's make it even more embarrassing by bringing in one of the funniest and most influential men in comedy. He's little, he's Alex. He's little Alex Horne. Welcome Alex, the creator of Taskmaster, the lead singer, head dancer, and frontman of the Horne Section Experience, the director of Cheshire United, and many other things. We're very happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's great exciting to be here with you, Harper, and Sam, but mostly Frank.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Brits have
Okay,
to stick
well,
together.
yeah.
I'm just a big Frank fan.
I think that we all are, actually.
I think
Speak
Alex
for
is the only
yourself.
one.
Speak for yourself.
I would quite like to be the only one, Frank. I think that's the coolest way. The one fan of Frank.
One and only.
Frank, how do you feel about that?
Um, a bit put off. I like having no fans. Um, I
That's
feel
not going
like
to
I have a
help.
lot of
I like you said that. That's the trouble.
I have a lot of pressure on me now to impress, and I'm not a big fan of that. So
Okay. Okay. Well, I've gone off you. Is that better?
that makes me feel so good.
Okay,
Okay.
what are you a fan of now? If it's not Frank.
Me.
Okay.
Oh no, I didn't mean. I said, are you asking me? I didn't mean, am I a fan of me? I'm not a fan of me. Anything but. Uh, I don't know. I quite like sort of, sometimes I quite like flamingos. Never, you
Okay.
know, sometimes I like those people who play in baseball teams, but they also dance a bit. Are they called?
Oh, yeah.
I see them on my algorithm sometimes.
Your algorithm. Is that Instagram? Is that TikTok?
No, that's YouTube.
Oh, oh,
I don't do Instagram or TikTok.
oh
I barely
no.
do YouTube.
That's so healthy of you, honestly. Very healthy.
Well, I've got other problems.
Don't
Don't
we
we
all?
all? Don't we all? So we're gonna move into our fact or fan fiction quiz. I have compiled some actual various Taskmaster quotes, and then I've also done myself a disservice of having to go read fan fiction and taking some
Hmm.
quotes from fan fiction to make this quiz. So I'm going to read a quote, and Frank and Alex, y'all are going to tell me if you think it's an actual Taskmaster quote or if it was written by a fan.
Okay. Do we take it in turns or do we both go for each one?
I'll have you both go. Alex, if you want to answer first, and then Frank, you can give your answer after.
What
And
do we win?
Oh yeah.
uh,
Well, what do we lose?
my respect, you win.
Right.
You'll win the respect of all America on behalf of
Yes.
Harper and I.
Okay.
Yeah, we represent the
Well,
whole of America.
yeah.
And what if we don't want that prize?
Well,
Um, I don't know what to tell you, Frank.
Oh,
it's a lose-lose situation for Frank often.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's what.
I
Yeah,
won the prize.
you want the prize? Okay, awesome.
I
Well,
think
let's
so.
hope you win. You might change your mind.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to win.
Okay. Your first quote is, "But you looked like a determined little boy trying to prove himself to daddy."
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's out of the mouth of Greg in real life. So I would say it's fact. Is that what I meant to say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's from the
Um,
show.
Okay. Frank.
I feel like I need to go against Alex for the simple fact that we need some jeopardy in this. So I'm going to say it's from a fan fiction.
Okay, now that one is an actual Taskmaster quote. So that is one
I'm very
point
pleased.
to Alex.
We're both pleased with that.
We are.
Yeah, yeah. All right, our next quote is, "Take your time, you swallow your fingers down, then we'll get on with the show."
Yeah, I reckon Greg said that to me.
I'm trying to think of the context of what fingers are
No,
they.
no context given.
No con. I'll say it's from the show.
It is from the show. So that is a point to both of y'all. Okay, my bad. Don't listen to myself clearly. Okay, our next quote is, "Come on, big boy, let's see what you've got."
I mean, do you want to go first, Frank? Or are you happy following each
I
other?
I don't. I mean, would he call you big boy if he called you little all the time? I feel like
He,
that's got to be fan
yeah,
fiction.
he does occasionally surprise all of us, so I would say from the show.
All right. And now that is from fan fiction.
I'm a second Jarl of the podcast. I'm enjoying the Jarls,
Oh, you'll get a lot of those.
really.
Mhm.
It's gotten bad because I still have my Texas vernacular, but I've also picked up quite a bit from my time in London. Um,
Mm,
so it's a mixture of y'all and then saying like bloody hell.
yeah, well, Gotten is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I no, I haven't used that.
Well, you just did.
Just
Oh,
did. I hate to break it to you, darling, but
did
you just
I? What did I say?
You said it's gotten pretty bad,
Oh shit.
Frank. He's drawn level. Well done.
it is now tied
You
2-2
too. Wow, this is electric.
on the edge of my seat.
All right. Um, the next quote is, "You suck on that and think about things."
Yeah.
Maybe a lollipop.
That's not okay.
It's not an answer, but like good word. I like
Mm.
lollipops.
I didn't think
I
that y'all
mean,
called him that.
yeah, we call them lollipops
Oh,
or lollies.
Lollies, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to break my trend of saying it's from the show.
Frank,
Oh, did I not answer?
you said
I'm
the
gonna
word
say,
lollipop.
can that not be my answer?
It could. Yeah.
I'm gonna go lollipop.
Okay.
Right.
Unfortunately, no points to Frank, but Alex, you get a point. It is from the show.
And do we know what he was t talking about?
I have no idea.
Nah.
I went on Reddit and I looked up funniest Taskmaster quotes, and I took them from that.
I should be able to remember because I guess I was there, but no.
Who remembers anything? I said a word and then didn't remember I said it 5 seconds
That's
later.
true. And you're young.
Yes, I'm quite young. I'm supposed to have all my brain power.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
All right. Our next quote is, "Could you spank me, please?"
what are you thinking, Frank? Lollipop?
Um, I'm trying to figure out whether it's Greg who said this or whether it's you who's asked Greg to do this to you.
Hmm.
Is that something you would ask him?
Well, I don't remember asking him that. It doesn't seem like something I would necessarily ask in public. So I'd probably say it's fan fiction for the first time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's on the show then.
Okay, our joint answer, Harper, is it's oh you saying from the show, Frank?
Yeah, I'm going against you
Oh, cool. For the Jeopardy.
for the Jeopardy.
All right. I'm sorry, Frank, but that is another point to Alex. I hate
Are
to. I
you
mean,
okay,
he
Frank?
doesn't want to win.
Most of the time, no.
Right. And now?
Now, no.
Okay, cool.
Lovely. All right. Next quote. "Do you imagine me in bed often?"
I'm
Mm.
gonna say that's from a fan fiction. I can't find a natural way that that would come up on the show.
Okay, I'm saying it's definitely from the show. I have no doubt.
All right. Congrats, Frank. That's a point to you.
Oh, wow.
Well done,
Okay.
Frank.
Thank you.
Do you have doubt now, Alex?
No doubt at all. I'm not wavering. I'm like one of these leaders you get in some countries who think they're always right.
Oh,
You would know about
I don't know anything about that
No?
actually.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was a very diplomatic way of saying that.
All right. Next quote. "You look unbearably hot when you're being all responsible." I didn't like the way I said that. I'd like to
that. Didn't
apologize.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just came out that way.
Mm.
Well, Frank, I'm thinking fan fiction, but did you want to go for fan fiction?
Uh, I feel like we need to change up, so I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah,
All right, well, good job, y'all. That is a point to the both of you.
cool. That's good. Frank, if we both give the same answer every time, then none of us can lose.
I'm okay with losing. I've made my peace with it, but
Okay.
I
Well,
will say, going into the last three questions now, Frank is at four correct answers, and Alex, you are at five. So it's
yes.
Right. Good to know.
Yeah, I'm thinking for question 10, we'll go like 3 points. So, you know, high stakes.
we have a whole country to impress.
We
clear.
do.
All right. Question number, no, quote number 8. If I had my chance again, I would have blown on his lips.
I mean, you know Greg better than any of us. Is that something he would say to you? Is that something
Yeah.
you'd say to him?
Yeah, it is. I think something that he would have said to me, Frank, in
I'll
my
go with
opinion.
I'll go with the show then.
We're doing the same answer again for the Jeopardy.
For the Jeopardy. All right, you guys are both correct. So
I was
another
hoping that
point.
was wrong.
You were rooting against both of you.
It's a weird thing to say to somebody.
I don't. Well, yes, but I think most of the things that come out of people's mouths on Taskmaster are quite weird.
Yeah. I think if Harper is just reading out ordinary quotes, it'd be less interesting.
Yeah, that is true.
One of the quotes is simply "Hello."
Yeah.
All right, final two. The next quote is, "Oh, nice firm grip you've got there."
Well, I'm thinking that's a fan fiction. That's too much of a straightforward compliment, I think, for the big man.
I mean, maybe you gave him the Heimlich maneuver and he was really impressed. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a big maybe.
So I'm gonna go with the show.
Okay, differing. Sorry, Frank. That's another point to Alex.
Ooh.
But quote 10 is worth three, Frank. Don't worry.
Yeah, Frank,
Here
you're
it is.
you're at 5, and Alex, you're at 7. So,
Could steal it.
I
because
don't think that's how numbers work, but sure.
so this is the final quote. I'm gonna try not to laugh while I read this. Um, Here's how it's going to go down, Alex. You're going to take off your trousers and your pants, and you're going to sit your bare ass down over there.
I mean, there was a somebody, I don't know who made you sit your bare bum down on a cake. So
Yeah, a lady called Lisa.
Lisa Tarbuck, who I'm
Yeah.
distantly related to. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
gonna say she said that on the show.
Yeah. It rings a bell, but I'm gonna, for the Jeopardy, say, despite that being very relevant and almost certainly the right answer, that it was fan fiction.
Alrighty. Are you guys ready to for me to announce the winner?
Oh yeah,
I am ready.
Strapped in. I'm ready.
Drum roll.
I don't want to shake my camera, so
Okay. Ding
Invisible
ding
drum
ding.
roll.
Alex is the winner of
Uh,
our
what are the chances?
or
Congratulations.
it
You
was a
won.
fan fiction. It was a fan fiction quote, and I wish I remembered the context of it, but I don't.
well,
Um,
it was an honor, Frank. Um,
yeah,
I'm sorry one of us had to lose.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it was me.
Yeah.
That's nice of you. Can you guys hear the police siren?
Not at all.
Okay, lovely.
But also, I think Frank's energy is so high octane, I wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Yeah, it's hard to get Frank to like calm down sometimes. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
look at his shirt, Gremlins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm crazy like that.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do now is Sam, Frank, and I are going to, in 20 seconds, explain our introduction to UK comedy. And then it'll be your turn, Alex, but not in 20 seconds. You can yap as long as you would like. So Sam, did you want to start?
I can start. I didn't know we were doing this like elevator pitch style, but I'm so ready and I'm gonna be so speedy, it's gonna blow your mind. Okay, comedy. Started with Monty Python. Um, as everybody's dad in the history of the world. made me watch Monty Python. Loved it. Used to go around doing silly walks, like Institute of Silly Walks. It was the best thing ever. Then I got older and I started watching Horrible Histories and Ghosts and Yonderland. And then Harper and I started watching Taskmaster, and now we're here. Harper, go.
Sam forced me to watch Ghosts, and then I forced them to watch Taskmaster, and now we're here.
Is
Frank,
this me? Yeah. I very different. My dad didn't let me watch Disney and stuff growing up, so it was all Steptoe and Son and Red Dwarf and Carry On and all other classics.
lovely. Okay, Alex,
They were very quick. Well done, everyone.
thank you.
I guess mine's slightly similar to some of yours. So it was Monty Python at the beginning when I was a little boy, and also Red Dwarf when I was a medium boy. Um, my parents would, well, there's only three channels or four channels when I was growing up. And so you had to watch with the family the same thing. So we used to watch Allo Allo together, which is an old sitcom. Um, Fawlty Towers, which is the best ever sitcom with John Cleese from Monty Python. And then there's a bit of stand-up, a little bit of stand-up of people like in the old days, people like Ben Elton and Bill Bailey, and then Ardlo Hanlon, who then I got to know through Taskmaster, which was lovely. There's something called Derek and Clive, which you guys should look up. It's a sort of double act who were in the 70s and were really rude, were kind of ahead of their games. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. These are all, if you've not heard of these things, you should look them up. Harry Enfield, The Fast Show. These are programs you'd watch as kids at home, and then everyone would talk about it the next day at school. So comedy became quite a currency, really. Like if you knew the comedy shows, you were quite cool in my little circle. And when I say cool, I don't mean actually cool. I just mean you might have a friend. Um, so there were lots and lots of comedy floating around, all pretty different, I suppose. Um, and I didn't want to do it at all, I don't think. I wasn't interested in doing it until I went to university and knew at university there was a comedy society, and I don't know what it was that drove me to it, but I had made my family laugh at Christmas dinners occasionally, so I sort of thought maybe I'm funny. So I did a sort of 5 minute open spot at the Comedy Society, and it went well. And if well, it didn't go that well, but it made some people laugh, and once you do that, it's quite addictive. So then I carried on doing that, I suppose. And all those little programs I watched, not little pro, all those programs I watched before swirl around in your subconscious and brain. So when I started doing stand up, I sounded like Ardlo Hanlon, who's Irish, and I sort of nicked his act for a bit. And you know, things you gradually find your voice. That's always the phrase we use in the UK. Takes you however many years to find your voice. And I'm not sure I ever really did, but I had met Mark Watson and Tim Key at university, so we sort of found our collective voice, I suppose. And I don't think the things we do are that reflective of any of those programs I watched before. I don't think Taskmaster's really like any of those things, but there must be something, an undercurrent of them somewhere. Um, I guess
I
that's
mean,
probably my comedy history.
yeah, I watched the Horne Section recently, and it kind of reminds me of the kind of absurdity of the Carry On films. The sort of there's a quote from Kenneth Williams in Don't Lose Your Head where he's like, "I'm Camembert, I'm the big cheese," and that kind of reminds me
That's,
of the Horne Section quite a bit.
yeah, and I think that is a compliment, even though it doesn't. Carry On films have got quite an odd reputation, I suppose, because they're so old-fashioned now. But I think you're right. We are pretty old-fashioned, and but we're pretty silly, and we like silly jokes. So I think
Yeah.
that's yeah, I think that's fair enough. And it is sort of people just trying to make each other laugh and always trying to. There's a trend in the UK for serious comedy at the moment. Most programs have a point or a message, and that's great. But we didn't want to do that at all. And I guess Father Ted's a good, and Vic and Bob are two things that definitely influenced us in that respect. It's just stupid fun.
Lovely. That was a great answer. Thank you.
Was it? It felt a bit all over the place.
I, isn't everything? This
Yeah.
this podcast certainly is. When we were recording on Sunday for House, it went from trying to be funny to like deep philosophical conversations about feminism.
Sorry about
Yeah.
that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't touch much on feminism, and I don't think I really talked about any female comedians in that list of people I saw at all, which is, I don't think, I mean, it's partly my problem, but also it's Britain's problem 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's really been quite recent that more female comedians have kind of made their mark.
Yeah, although it is bad of me. Like Ab Fab is absolutely brilliant. I really like Miranda, and I work with a lot of amazing comedians. I mean, there are countless excellent female shows. Like Smack the Pony is worth watching for you guys now if you've never seen it. And I think that is just a bit of a generational bias I displayed. So I think it was my bad
I
because it
think
has always been there, but it wasn't at the forefront of my brain. So I'm sorry.
yeah, no, Carolina Hearn, in the Fast Show, I think she was brilliant. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, Mrs. Merton, that's her show. It's so amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, we're good. That it was a great answer. And feminism.
Yeah. Great answer despite my blatant misogyny.
No, we're Sam can attest to this. Frank and I are quite often uh, inadvertently misogynistic.
speak for yourself.
Okay, me.
Okay.
Um, so we're gonna move on to a bit of a more of the discussion bit. So we wanted to start off with something Sam will introduce.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of our idea for this episode and the basis of this episode is obviously we have two Brits and two Americans, and we have kind of really different perspectives about what media we were fed when we were young, when we like now that, we're adults and mostly in this room. Um, but so I guess my first kind of discussion prompt for today is how like British comedy is perceived by a British audience versus how American comedy is perceived by an American audience and vice versa, because there are Americans watching British comedy and Brits watching American comedy. So I guess I'll throw it to the Brits first if y'all want to talk about any kind of American comedy that you feel inspired by or just like or really don't like, and kind of what
Mm.
differences you see in style, voice, that kind of stuff.
Well, I can say I think Frank's going to have a better answer. This is my theory. Because I don't really, I'm not particularly a comedy aficionado nowadays. So when I was little, I used to watch Cheers, Roseanne, The Wonder Years. These were programs that were just on the telly. The Cosby Show. Not all these things have aged very well, but anyway, um, sitcoms really, and very little stand-up. I watched a bit of Weird Al Yankovic, uh, a bit of the guy Jack Handy. I had Jack Handy's book growing up. Don't know if you know him. And I really love the Man on the Moon movie about what's his name? The experimental stand-up from America, whose name we should all know, but we don't. And that's about it. I never watched George Carlin or any of the great stand-ups, and I never really was into stand-up from America for some reason. A lot of my uh, colleagues or people of my vintage in comedy are big American comedy fans, but so I don't know. So that was in the old days, and then when you grow up, I did watch Frasier, and I guess Friends because you couldn't avoid it. Um, and then I suppose I still watched the chat shows like Conan and well John Oliver, who's not American, but yeah, all those ones, and I kind of liked that, but I didn't watch SNL very much. Um, so I think my short answer is I'm not hugely into American comedy, but I'm also not hugely into British comedy. So I'm the wrong guest. Your turn, Frank.
I mean, yeah, I was a big fan of the earlier days of SNL with Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin and John Belushi. A lot of the comedy that I watch that's American are either films, sort of from that group of people, Tommy Boy, Ghostbusters, the Blues Brothers.
I
Uh,
love Blues Brothers, by the way.
Blues Brothers is brilliant.
That's my
Um,
favorite film ever.
it's I found I was very happy in the charity shop yesterday. I found an original DVD set with all of the behind the scenes stuff. And
Excellent.
but yeah, no, and in terms, I never really watched the stand-ups. I mean, I watched some Eddie Murphy and some Dave Chappelle, but mostly, Jon Stewart on The Daily Show is my big sort of American comedy, and then Malcolm in the Middle and the sort of sitcoms from the early 2000s.
That's quite a mix. Andy Kaufman is the guy from the movie,
Yeah,
but I think he's got a pretty mixed reputation. But I only know him from the movie, which is obviously not him.
I've never heard that
So,
name in my life.
Andy Kaufman. Oh, you have to watch the movie. The movie's Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman,
Okay.
and it makes you think. It's a really good movie. It's probably my second favorite movie.
Okay.
oh,
With Blues Brothers as number one.
Mm. Yeah, although I did watch Blues Brothers again recently, and it wasn't quite what I remember. But anyway,
Oh.
yeah,
Happens.
it's still there. It's still pretty good.
My dad for Christmas with no he didn't know he didn't I don't know the Blues Brothers that well, but he bought me a patch to iron onto my jacket of the Blues Brothers.
That's good.
I gave it to Frank. Um
That's even better.
yeah,
I benefited.
I don't know them that well. So,
Well, the main thing is when you watch the movie, the cast is incredible. Every amazing musician from that time is in it, and they are all funny. And also Princess Leia from Star
Carrie
Wars
Fisher,
is in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's that yeah, it does stand up pretty well.
okay. I will check it out. Um Sam, did you want to do should we move over to Americans because saving the best for last.
I would love to move over to Us Americans. We love to talk about ourselves. Um,
Great.
yes, of course, as we should. Um, I think honestly, I think it was funny and interesting that you guys both brought up kind of late night TV, especially since I took a class in undergrad that was writing for sketch and late night, and I hated it.
Oh, really?
Hated it. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. We had to watch so much, and I'm a big fan of Stephen Colbert. I'm a big fan of I also really like John Oliver. But that's about my line. Frank knows this about me. We've had fights about this. I'm not an SNL person. I'm really not. And I think there's something about um kind of where political satire um was kind of when late night started to get popular here versus where it is now. And I think it's lost a lot of its purpose and its punch, um, especially with especially with SNL, how it's kind of really forcing itself to try to be really in touch with a younger audience, and um, that makes it even more out of touch with a younger audience. Um, so I think late night kind of sketch, I think there needs to be a bit of a rebuff for us Americans. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Harper, how do you feel about SNL?
Um, I don't really like much American comedy, to be honest. I don't think we're that funny. For the most part. That's not entirely true. I'm a really big fan of Danny McBride. Um, Frank and I often talk about The Righteous Gemstones because
Mm.
I truly believe it is one of the funniest television shows of this.
I'm writing it down. Danny McBride. I do not know Danny McBride.
Oh, Alex, I think the rest of The Righteous Gemstones follows the evangelical megachurch of South Carolina. And it's just an entire spoof on how insane those telechurches are, like the
Okay.
tele-evangelists of the Deep South are. It's so good. Um, I mean, I watched Friends growing up with my mom and Cheers with my mom, but I just never really watched much American comedy. Um, I kind of I remember so the first British comedy show I ever watched was technically Horrible Histories because I took Latin in middle school and high school, and so we watched Horrible Histories. And then I watched Miranda because I was obsessed with Tom Ellis.
Hmm.
Um, and then it just kind of went off from there with my obsession. And then since my t time living in London, it has just flourished and it's been insane. And it's kind of taken over my brain and I hate it a little bit. So yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. I mean, since you're talking, I've thought of three other American comedies that I really like,
Go for it.
but I can only remember one of them.
Oh,
Hmm.
There's Tim Robinson's sketch show, I Think You Should Leave.
yes. Fantastic
There-
show.
There's Eric Andre's chat show, but I can't remember what it's called, where he does a chat show, but everything falls apart and goes wrong. It's a bit like Between Two Ferns. Uh, it's very funny.
Okay.
And then there's the show, which I can never remember the name, a guy who goes to great lengths to try to improve people's businesses. Do you know what I'm talking about at all? It's such a good program.
I
All I
can't.
can think of is Undercover Boss, and I'm
I
pretty
Yeah.
was thinking Undercover Boss. That's
Yeah.
where my brain went to, Frank.
I don't know what that is.
I'm just having one quick look. Nathan for You. It's called Nathan for You. Have you heard of Nathan for
Okay,
You?
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
Okay. That
yeah.
those are three programs that I don't think we do here in Britain. I guess, and maybe all the things I said were things that we don't do very well,
Mm.
as in the big sitcoms like Cheers. The British ones felt very sort of stuck up to me compared to the cool American ones. And the reason I do like some of the late night shows is probably because they're fresh. We don't have them here. So they
Right.
seem, again, I mean, I'm quite shallow. They just seem quite cool. They seem to do them well. Whenever we try to do them, it's kind of embarrassing. So at least you guys look like you know what you're doing, I suppose.
Well, we look
That's a
like
good
we do.
description of America. We look like
Yeah.
Not
Whereas
right
we look like we're
now.
trying to copy you.
not
Yeah.
right now.
Well, see, you say that, but kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the shows that started in the UK and then moved to America, which I think
Hmm.
the first one that comes to mind for everyone is The Office. Because how many seasons did it run for in the UK?
Just
two
three,
or
I think.
three.
Or two. Yeah, maybe two.
Yeah, I think it was two. I don't
Yeah.
think it had many. It
And then
definitely
it
did
was
better.
it was huge in America.
Hmm.
Mm.
Still is.
And I
That's
don't
still the show I'd watch. If I'm on a plane, I'll just put on American Office.
Yeah,
I can't watch it. I can't do it. I cringe and I want to shrivel up and die.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I. But I still like it. I find it's cringe, but it's so cozy compared to. I mean, you won't like Nathan for You or the Eric Andre show if you don't want to cringe.
I can cringe sometimes in like with Fleabag. I find Fleabag to be a very cringeworthy show in the fact that she's kind of an awful character. And everything she says, I hate it. But I still love that show. So I don't know what it
I
is
love
with
it.
The Office.
Yeah, I mean, it is cringe comedy. You know, it started the trend of cringe comedy, really. I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think
the Office,
also
So Ghost now has many series in America. Is that right?
too many. Um,
Oh, really?
Sam and I watched the first episode of the CBS Ghosts and gave up.
we couldn't do it.
You
And I
couldn't
don't know
do it.
what it is because I'm not inherently, I think it's most of the time been the opposite for me with shows that have come over, like with The Office especially. Um, I find it much more watchable, the American version versus the UK version. And I think part of that might just be how we were talking about on Sunday, kind of the obsession America has with the character of the lovable asshole, and how that's been very much popularized. And um, it's, I guess, cathartic in a way to watch people
Mm.
that you kind of hate, but also you get to love them because they're not real. Um, so I think that might be one of the reasons why The Office worked so well here and not in the UK, but that's my theory.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory. I think
Yeah.
we have the lovable arsehole over here as well, probably. You know, if you Fawlty Towers is a good one to
Mm.
watch for that. I think that's kind of a comedy staple, I suppose. I
Yeah.
mean, even in our show in Taskmaster, Greg and I are hopefully both slightly lovable assholes. You know,
Well,
we're
I
definitely.
think Greg is an asshole. I don't see your persona to be. And well,
No, I'm not sure. I'm pretty annoying.
yeah, but I feel like there's a big difference between annoying and asshole.
I think some of the contestants would disagree.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Um, yeah.
But
Okay. Well, do you
then
have
you get something like Ted Lasso, which I find really interesting because it's so nice. And if I'm completely honest, it's slightly too nice for me. But when I do watch it, it's so heartwarming and positive. I love that it exists and is so popular. But that show isn't about a lovable asshole.
Mm.
So it's sort of slightly something different. I'm not sure. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
Did anyone else want to speak on that, or should we keep the ball rolling?
Frank.
I'm just thinking of other shows that have come from over here to the US. There was one or two series of Red Dwarf in America
Oh, really?
that didn't do very well. They
Okay.
had Crichton in it, a different actor, but it just didn't pick up in the same way. I know they're doing Have I Got News for You with Roy Wood Jr. currently,
Hmm.
which I think has held up well. Uh, and yeah, that is all I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. It is interesting, the concept of seeing a show be successful in another country and then wanting to, especially when it's the same
Sorry,
language.
my phone's going.
Take your time, buddy.
See,
Um,
this is why we don't respect Frank, is he doesn't respect us.
But that's why I respect him. I respect that he doesn't respect you. I think that's good, Frank. Don't change,
Yeah,
Frank.
I'm the lovable asshole of this podcast.
You
Yeah,
are you are
there you
our
go.
designated lovable asshole, Frank.
okay, we'll move on to, I mean, we did touch on this quite a bit in what we were just talking about, but um the there are a lot of, TV shows that we have in America and then shows over in the UK that absolutely would not work in other places. So like panel shows, I don't think we could do here.
Yeah, it's interesting that there's a there's a show called Game Changer, which is on one of your networks. It's really, really good. And it is sort of a panel show, but it's not people sat behind desks. So you might be right. Is that a Cheshire United Cup,
It
Harper?
is.
That is brilliant.
I brought it back with me.
I've never even seen one of them before.
They were at the charity match.
Ah, I was on the pitch that time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but yeah, panel shows don't seem to work in America. But then, like Frank said, Have I Got News for You seems to be working. That's definitely a panel show. So I think sometimes we're a bit like we sort of insist these things don't work, but maybe they just haven't worked yet.
That's
Mm.
true. And like you said, but you said you don't think that sitcoms work as well in the UK.
Well, just I don't mean they didn't work so well. I just preferred the American ones.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean, sitcoms are huge here, or have been over the years. There's not that many left with a studio audience. There's not going out, which is great. But now sitcoms tend to be quite serious. So comedy
I think,
dramas rather than laugh
I
out
mean,
loud.
Red Dwarf has held up. They're still doing new series, and
Hmm.
I think out of all of the shows that we have, it's definitely the most relaxed. You're not looking for hidden meaning behind what they're saying. It is
Mm,
just a pure silly comedy show. Um,
yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Sam, did you want to?
Yeah, I have a fun little food for thought, if you will,
Okay.
prompt for, I guess me and Harper could answer this, but it would be much more fun for the Brits to answer this one. If you guys could have five Americans on Taskmaster, all in the same season, so five Americans with each other, who would it be?
Hmm. So well, shall I give you my five? I'm pretty good. I have been asked this before, and it
Mm.
changes obviously, but I want Ali Wong in the show. Um, I don't know her at all, but I have seen bits of her stand up, and I just think she's very funny, and would like to see her because let's assume Greg is still the host, if that's all right.
Yes.
So I'll have Ali Wong. There's a guy called Mike Birbiglia. I don't know how well known he is. He does Edinburgh Fringe style shows, storytelling shows. He's gentle and funny, very, very, very funny. He's one of the funniest American stand-ups I've seen recently. So I'll go for him. I'll go for Sarah Silverman because I think it's good to have. Firstly, I think she's very funny, but also she's kind of a household name, and you need somebody that everyone can latch onto. There's a guy called Ron Funches who was in the American version of Taskmaster, which we didn't talk about just then, but it didn't quite work. But he was so funny, and he's a big wrestling fan. I like Ron a lot. And then I'd have Conan O'Brien as well because he's the same height as Greg-ish. He's up there, and his travel show. What is it? I can't remember what it's called. Travel. Conan and O'Brien Must Go. It's one of my favorite recent shows, and I didn't realize quite how funny he was until that show.
He's
So
lovely.
yeah, yeah, it seems like he is.
I ran
That's
into
by
him on the
far.
street and he's a little intimidating, but he's lovely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's pretty extraordinary shape of a man, as in the ginger hair, the height, the
Yeah.
angles. He's pretty free with his body. It seems like he's confident and big gestures, and yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Frank, do you have a
I think Leslie Jones would be a funny one. She did obviously SNL and then she does the Daily Show now. I think Lorraine Newman is another one. She doesn't do stand up, but I've always found her approach to sort of the slapstick style of comedy quite interesting. I'd say Dan Aykroyd for the simple fact that it's Dan Aykroyd, but I feel like he would probably just spend the whole time pitching his vodka. So I'm not sure how well that would work. Uh, Eric Andre, I think, would be brilliant as a
Yeah,
contestant on Taskmaster, and I'd say Jon Stewart is another one.
Wow,
I like
interesting.
that.
I
I
almost
don't
want
know
to
Leslie or Lorraine, so I will look up Leslie and Lorraine after this.
yeah, I almost want to see like both of those groups of people just in like some kind of wrestling match rather than on top. Or, like last comedian standing.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
could do both. I guess if we've got them for Taskmaster, we might as well get them to wrestle
Yeah.
While
as
we're at
well.
it,
Yeah.
add a goalkeeper as well. We have a soccer match. Two goalkeepers on each side. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Might as well
Might as well. Yeah, cool. This is great news.
put them to use.
This is a
Um
new TV show to pitch.
comedians doing sports. I would watch it. I would watch it. And
Well, I have pitched
basically
it and no one's
basically the
interested.
charity match.
Yeah, I've pitched versions of this and yeah.
Well, if they're not going to listen to you, they're not going to listen to anyone.
Well, you'd think, but no.
All right, and then Frank, so Frank is like pretty knowledgeable on older comedians. So he also had a bit of a question to pitch.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of comics from the sort of counterculture decades that I think would have made interesting contestants on Taskmaster. Hattie Jacques, Harry H. Corbett is another one, Sid James, and he's a little bit past that time, but Rick Mail, I think, would have been interesting.
Mm.
I was just wondering if you could have anybody from that sort of comedy era as a lineup on Taskmaster, who would you go for?
Yeah, Rick's a great shout. So I was a big fan of Bottom and well, everything he did. Um, yeah, it's interesting because I don't quite know enough about it. Like I didn't know all those names you said. Um, so sorry about that. And to be honest, a lot of the comics are still going, and I'm kind of interested in there's comics in England. I'm going to say some names who you won't have heard of, Harper and Sam. There's Russ Abbott, Jasper Carrot, or Joe Pasquale, or Les Dennis. Lots of whom are still working, who I found so funny growing up, and I don't really know what they're all up to. I met this guy Les Dennis recently, really lovely, very funny. So I think there's still a role for that generation to play in programs like Taskmaster. We can ignore people, but I think one of the strengths of Taskmaster is that we have all types on it and all types of brains. So yeah, I think there's a certain I don't know who really, but there are some people in their 70s who would still be great on it. Um, and that's sort of a plan at some point to get that
I would
sort of voice.
absolutely watch like geriatric Taskmaster.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure all those people would be happy with that description, but I know what you mean. I mean, having said that, and I'm not sure, I don't think he'll be watching, but John Cleese is an interesting one because he's one of my all-time heroes, but I'm not sure I could cope with him on the show. Partly because I'm too in awe of him, but partly because I'm not sure he's the same comedian he was when he was doing
No,
Monty Python. But having said that, I don't know. I'd have someone on, give them the benefit of the doubt, and the idea of having a Python on the show. I mean, I'd have probably Palin in a heartbeat.
Lovely.
I, mm,
Well, we have one more discussion thing and then on to the questions and the final thing. One thing I've noticed since like I think joining especially like the part of Twitter that is like Britcom Twitter is that Taskmaster seems to attract a lot of queer neurodivergent people. And I find that really fascinating. And I kind of wanted to get your opinion on it, Alex.
yeah, I mean, it surprised me, but it's definitely true, I think. And same with the Horne Section audiences, and they're both quite odd because the Horne Section is six white straight men who are pretty boring, but I think we're all nice and
Very.
open-minded and liberal, I hope. Um, and I think we are quite approachable, and I think we're probably neurodiverse because I guess everyone is, but amongst us we are. And in Taskmaster, we started off the first three series, and we're quite ashamed of this. We only had one woman and six men, and pretty not a big queer proportion of contestants. And over the years, we have become a lot more diverse and a lot more. Hopefully, we've always been open, but we sort of realised fairly quickly it's funnier if you've got a better mix of people. That's kind of the main thing. Like rather than trying to represent people for representation's sake, I think it's just a better program. Um, but I don't think we ever courted that sort of audience. We just did what we found funny. So I would say a bit of a landmark moment was when we had Fern Brady on the show, who wrote a book after she was on the show about her autism. And I have to say, when she was on the show, I think I knew she was autistic, but I didn't really know what that meant, and I didn't quite know how. Sometimes in the show, we were laughing at something she did, and she didn't quite know why, which is something that happens a lot, I think, in her life, having read her book. And thankfully, in the book, she said that Taskmaster was a positive experience for someone with her brain. And yeah, I think, I don't know, since that, you look back at other people who've been on the show and think, God, I guess everyone's on this spectrum at some point. And even you see someone like David Baddiel on the show, who's definitely got things going on, and we all do. So I think the reason I think it chimes with all sorts of people is that we've had 100 and whatever people on it, which means we've had all types, from a May Martin where we used the they pronoun and we're quite proud of the fact we hopefully got it right most of the time. But May was brilliant at telling us off in a good way when we didn't, or just allowing it. But that was a fun learning curve, and we finally had Rosie Jones and had to make sure that we were accessible for people with all sorts of abilities. So yeah, the fact that we've been around 10 years means we've now had a good mix of people. And I guess audiences see that and think they're welcome and they've seen people like themselves in the show finally. But that doesn't work with the Horn Section, so I don't know why we're popular in that world.
I think that with the horn section, there's just something about and I don't really know how to describe it, but like as a queer neurodivergent people person, I adore the horn section. And
Why is that? I'm very grateful.
I don't and I couldn't tell you. I think that all of y'all are very oh, I heard that one. I heard the all of y'all. I didn't
Mm.
that was yeah.
Well, I think when it's next to the Horn Section, because we're very not y'all people, but I like it.
It's good that you didn't bring out the all y'alls because sometimes that blows
Oh,
Yeah, that made me just
mine.
leave the session.
yeah. But I think it is the kindness. You can feel it. Y'all are very, very funny. I mean, Alex, you're obviously hilarious, but y'all also play off each other really well, and it just feels comforting, I think.
Okay. Frank
Frank, do
has
you
his
have a
hand up.
question?
No. I think from the perspective of having sort of briefly worked behind the scenes, there's also a lot of neurodivergent and queer people working behind the scenes of these shows. And production companies, especially the couple that I've worked with, have definitely gotten better at employing people who are neurodiverse and people who are queer. Where you don't necessarily see that in a lot of other work. It's I think what we see on TV is very reflective of what is going on behind the scenes, especially in the sort of comedy sort of universe. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and I think speaking as someone who works with a production company, the good thing about Channel 4 is that we do have to have a diverse crew and production team, and diverse means everything, from disabilities to skin color to sexuality. And you're right, it's annoying that you have to make these rules, but it sort of works, I think, and it hopefully means we'll come out the other side and it will be naturally diverse rather than forced. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I took a gender and race studies class, and we were talking about that because in America they recently got rid of the law that required diversity in workspaces, and a lot of people in my class were confused as to why that was a bad thing, um, because I think they
yeah, it's a
assume that
shame
people are
shame you have to have it.
right, and because we like to think that people are generally going to be kind and open to anyone, but they're not.
Hmm.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, it is unfortunate. I don't think I can talk about America really. Um, but I mean, one thing I love about stand-up in the UK is that it is meritocratic in that you can't do well unless people find you funny, and you'll find your audience. And it doesn't mean everyone will find the same people funny, but yeah, we're very culty, really. The Horne section, we're very niche. Um, but our audience isn't what we thought it would be. We're either very old people because we used to do a show on Radio 4, or this new um, group, which is hilarious. That I mean, we love it, but we weren't expecting it.
Yeah, it is, I think, a lot to handle. And I think a lot of weird niche groups of people are seeing this. Because on Sunday we were talking about we were doing an episode on House. House MD has a lot of queer neurodivergent youths obsessing over it.
Right.
And that's weird, I think.
Yeah. But then, do you think sometimes, I mean, this is me probably speaking out of turn, is there sometimes some of the community will love a show and that just brings everyone in, not necessarily any reason, but that it means all that group watch that program together for a bit, and then maybe it doesn't reflect much about the show, except it's a great show. I don't know. Is it?
Uh, I mean, I'd be inclined to agree. A lot of the reason that the people I know have gotten into house is because I don't shut up about it. And I do think that it's very much a cultural thing of neurodivergent people tend to find each other and tend to find the same interests. Um, so yeah, I do think that there's a point to be made there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, that's a great way to end that part. We'll go into the interview now. So, Sam, did you want to start?
Yeah, we each kind of wrote up a few questions for you. And first of all, I guess this was a little bit of a nerdy inquiry because I'm getting my master's in media studies and literature, and I'm
Cool.
always interested in kind of how ideas come to fruition and how they start on, the writing pad versus, getting like the right people to back it and all that fun stuff. So I guess just how did Taskmaster go from idea to fruition?
Yeah. I mean, my main answer here is anything I've done has pretty much started at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So it's just a case of if you have an idea, you've kind of got to act on it. And if you think you've got a play in you, or, think of Fleabag as well. That started as a play at the Edinburgh Festival and then became this global TV thing. So I think you've just got to somehow get it out of your head onto a piece of paper and then onto a stage, or nowadays probably in front of a camera. Um, but I'm probably a bit old-fashioned and still believe you're better to do it in front of a real audience than a YouTube audience because you learn so much more because you actually see people's reactions rather than read their comments and, you know, see a thumbs up. So I don't know, I would be all about, so Taskmaster was all about, I had an idea, persuaded some people to do it, put it on at the Edinburgh Fringe. It was good fun. So we did it again, and then people started to take notice. So I think it's being quite brave and putting yourself out there again and again and again and being okay with disappointment. That's my shortish answer. There's no shortcuts, I don't think. It's quite hard work, and you need a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Great, great answer. The our next question is about No More Jockeys and kind of how that started. And so it was originally No More Women. I was doing a deep dive on YouTube. It was a long.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, just about
it's
that.
a game that Mark and Tim used to play a long time ago on car journeys. Just a little game they devised. And then we had a different TV program called We Need Answers years ago as well. And we would still play this game. It's a little parlor game that I think Mark and Tim invented. And the women aspect of it was just that we would always start. So you name a person, could be anyone. So you could say Mark Watson, no more comedians. The next person had to say a name of someone, but they're not allowed to say any comedians anymore. So they could say Wayne Rooney, no more footballers. Now I could say someone, but it can't be a footballer or a comedian. If I do, you could challenge me and I'd be out. But the one rule was you'd always have to start with a woman. Don't know why, but it's just the same in chess. You always have to start with a white piece. But it didn't have a good ring to it when we decided to put these things out into the public domain. We just thought it's got a slight negative headline there. Um, so we changed it to No More Jockeys, and there was no reason because it was entirely harmless, and it still is. So we just thought let's not cancel ourselves before you know that's necessary. So yeah, it's just a stupid game. And then during lockdown, we recorded ourselves on Zoom because we were still playing it, and we thought, well, let's record this. We think it's quite entertaining, so we whacked it out there, and it was kept us slightly sane and kept a few other people sane. And that's it. We've never done anything more with it. We talked about turning it into a board game. Some company wanted to do that. We talked about podcasting it because that might be profitable. And we just didn't really want to do that. So it was a very much product of the pandemic and a nice memory.
Yeah,
So we might occasionally do it again, but it's kind of run its course.
I quite enjoyed. I have a picture of it of one of the moments up on my wall over there.
Lovely.
Yeah, big fan. Um, so my next question is about the horn section. So you knew Joe and Ben in school. How did everything
Mm.
else come about?
Yeah, we knew each other. Weirdly, we're all the middle sons of three sons. So our parents were all friends, our older brothers are friends, our younger brothers are friends, and all the middle ones got the least sensible jobs. All the eldest boys ended up working in what I guess are much more traditional jobs. The younger ones have a bit more variety, but the middle ones we were let loose and we could be completely free, I think. And I've got three boys as well, and I can sort of see it happening in my family. So anyway, yeah, we found each other a bit through music. Ben and Joe were musicians from the start, and I never was, but I pretended I liked music. I pretended I liked heavy metal, had all the stuff, quite long hair. Joe had really long hair. We had denim jackets and would put pictures of Slayer and Megadeth up on our walls. They went to music college and I didn't. I went off to be a comedian, but we kept going to the Edinburgh Fringe together and we stayed friends. But then, yeah, when I turned 30, we decided to do a show because they had these funny musician friends from music college. And it just seemed like a good idea to put real life musicians on stage with comedians, which you'd think is an obvious thing, but it doesn't happen very often because it's not financially great because there's too many people. It just means there's a great energy. Jazz is quite similar to comedy, bit of improvisation, mucking about, not very, there's not much money involved. So yeah, it just was a natural fit and a bit of a last throw of the dice as well, really, because we were not doing very well before that.
Well, I'm a big fan, and Frank recently found out.
Yeah, my uncle, I don't know which school, but he went to school with, I believe it was Ben. Um,
Oh, okay. Well, Ben was at school with Joe as well. Was it down in Sussex or
Sussex, yeah. You probably won't know the name, Zach Chandler. Um, he was never really.
Ben? Ben and Joe probably were. So I went to that school. Well, I went to the feeder school to that school, but then I got sent off to boarding school. So that's where we split for a while as well, which I used to find very embarrassing, and now it's just a fact.
Is boarding school embarrassing?
Well, there's a private school, whereas they went to the state school.
Ah,
So it's, fee paying, and yeah, it is pretty embarrassing because it was slightly elitist.
It's a
And
very I'm trying to think of the word. It's because we had a private school near us and I went to a state school, and it's very much two different worlds.
yeah, it's a very interesting one. And it used to be this thing where you'd go to private school, then you go to Cambridge, and then you'd go to Footlights, and then you'd get a job at the BBC. So the Monty Python lot were all private school, and I mean, I don't think that's quite true actually, but there was Cambridge educated, and same with Fry and Laurie. So all the way back, House can trace its roots to boarding schools, but I think nowadays British comedy is a little bit more representative. But you still get a lot of people going from Cambridge to your screens.
and then Sam, you had one more question.
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'm always interested in kind of audience perception, and I know you talked a bit about like kind of being able to be there in person and like looking at your audience and like getting their feedback in real time. Um, and we talked a bit earlier about the difference between American audiences and British audiences and what they consume, if it's like a matter of just the different media we grow up with and if that feeds into like the comedy that we like or don't like. But I guess my question to you would be, do you find any patterns of like what audiences would take with British comedians versus American or, audience British versus American audiences?
Yeah, I don't know is probably my answer. So this is probably not the answer to that question, but there's two things that I have noticed that are very different between the two industries or the two countries. So when we did Taskmaster in America, we filmed in LA and we were in a studio at 9 o'clock in the morning because that was the only slot we could get. And they bussed in an audience and they whooped and cheered so much throughout. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what the show was. I'm not sure if they even enjoyed it, but they were sort of, that was what you had to do. And there's a warm-up act making sure they whooped. And it was almost off-putting how much they enjoyed it. So when you're watching that on the telly, I think you're watching it as a viewer going, well, this isn't as funny as these people seem to think it. And it was weird. It just felt very different to how we would do it in Britain. And but I don't think it's all negative. There's a thing, tall poppy syndrome, which we have in England and the UK in general, which is that the people who do very well get hacked down if their heads are too high. So someone like James Corden is sometimes treated badly because probably one of the reasons is that he's too successful, and people just don't like it when people get too successful in this country. Whereas in America, I don't think that exists. People are proud of their success stories, and I don't know, that seems a healthier way to me. Whereas here, if you get too big for your boots, you're just waiting to be cut down, and people love it when you then fail. Um, and doing the Horne section, to be honest, I was waiting to be absolutely slagged off everywhere, which is partly why I've gone off social media because I couldn't cope. Yeah, it's not the answer to your question, Sam. I think the trouble is my audiences have kind of stayed the same. It tends to be people who go to live comedy are the same. What I haven't gone, I think what I don't know is if a comedian now has started on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, I think they might find it very difficult then, not difficult, but different than going to a live audience. I don't know how that would be.
Lovely. I do I see your point of I've gone to studio recordings in the States, and then when I was in London I saw Taskmaster being recorded, and the what we're given is very different about how we're supposed to react to everything.
Right.
Because in the States I feel like I have to laugh at everything and they're boring their eyes into me to make sure I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Taskmaster is slightly unusual because we've been going for a while, so the audience is pretty excitable.
Oh,
But
yes.
we hope that they don't react in an over the top way. Um,
Yeah. I might have, to be fair.
well, that's fine. That's good. But I guess we still feel we had to earn it, whereas in America we hadn't earned it, and we had
Yes.
these sort of over the top reactions, and it just felt like, this doesn't seem quite proportionate.
Yeah. Um, well, we're now moving on to our last bit.
Oh, I
It'll
do
be,
actually have a
oh,
question.
no, we're not.
Sorry, I
Okay.
this is
I forgive you.
just one that's popped into my head now. Um, there's obviously a lot of conjecture around the fact that a lot of TV is moving to streaming services. And I'm wondering sort of your opinion on how you think that's going to impact comedy going forward.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I mean, luckily, I don't work for a channel or a streamer or, I think being the people who make the programs is easier than the people who have to broadcast it in some ways. Because I don't know. I mean, I still watch, maybe I don't, I just watch programs rather than channels. I get told by a mate that this program's really good. I put it on. I don't really even know what channel it's on. So, um, I don't know what you do. It all comes down to money. So our program's on Channel 4, which relies on advertising. So they need viewing figures to sell the advert space. I mean, well, I guess all I can talk about is my experience, which is I love being on Channel 4. I love being on a terrestrial program. But in America, we just go out on YouTube and we've built an audience that way for free, which seems like that seems really nice and organic without adverts, without it being pushed in people's faces. So I think there's so many different ways you can get out there nowadays. Um, I think there's fewer opportunities for comics to make a living um, in the early stages. I don't know how you could monetize YouTube and all
This
that sort of stuff.
that's something that I briefly spoke to Rod Gilbert about when I was doing Growing Pains, is that where he was getting sort of upwards of £10,000 when he was doing live at the Apollo in the early 2000s, that they get, I think, about 2 grand per show that they do there now. And obviously it still seems like a lot of money, but it's just not as profitable for newer comedians as it was perhaps 10,
Mm,
20 years ago.
yeah, yeah. And going back to the elitist Cambridge and boarding school things, one of the problems there was that they were the only ones who could afford to be comedians because they could go on the open mic circuit for 3 years and not work, and it's still the case now. If you want to go to the Edinburgh Festival, you need to have some money behind you somehow, or at least go into 50 grand's worth of debt. So it's still a problem, yeah. And I guess you've just got to stick at it and hope you get a break. But yeah, that's a real problem. And I don't have a solution.
Okay.
So
Or
that's fun.
it is fun. Yeah. I don't know what I was gonna
Sorry,
say.
I brought the mood down a bit there. I
That's
apologize.
okay. We're gonna bring it right back
Always, Frank, as always.
with my with the Mad Libs fan fiction that I have written poorly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask for like an adjective, noun, verb, and we're just gonna go in the order of I'll ask you first, Alex, and then Sam, and then Frank, and we'll go in a circle till it's filled. I'll read it, and then we say bye bye.
So it's what's the order? Me, then Sam, then Frank.
Yes, and
But not you, Harper.
not me. I'm
Got it.
reading it.
And
Got
that's
it.
simply just because Harper does not know what a verb is.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alex,
Fine.
can you give me an adjective?
I'm gonna go for solid.
Solid. Lovely. All right, Sam, can you also give me an adjective?
Let's go crispy.
And Frank, a noun, please.
Let's go chair.
Chair. Alex, can I have a noun that describes a feeling?
A noun that describes a feeling. Okay, I'll go for remorse.
Okay. I wrote this at about 3 in the morning, so bear with.
Clearly.
Right.
Um, Sam, can I have body part?
Ooh, clavicle.
Ah, lovely. Frank, can I have a title for a person of authority?
Queen.
Alex, can I have an adjective?
I'll go for muscular, please.
Sam, can I have a body part?
Uh, little toenail.
Lovely. Oh, I don't like what I've just read. Frank, can I have a verb, please?
Drop.
Alex, can I have a noun?
Television, please.
Vision. Sam, can I have an adjective?
Crispy.
Sorry?
Crispy.
Crispy
Crispy.
with the C.
Yes. Do you want me to spell it for you?
No, 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 no. You said that one already. I was really confused.
Oh, I can do another one. I only have one word in me. Is that I have a English degree, but I guess I'm not doing so well with it. Okay, another adjective. How about horrid?
Horrid.
Nice.
Frank, can I have an adjective ending in ly?
Elderly.
I feel like I did this horribly. Alex, can I have a body part, please?
Uh, can I go for brain, please?
Absolutely. Sam, can I have a noun?
Oh, car engine.
Car engine. Frank, can I have an adjective?
Fertile.
Alex, can I have an adjective?
Floppy.
Floppy, love it. Sam, can I have a verb?
Honking.
Honking. Frank, can I have a past tense verb?
Hooked.
Alex, can I have an adjective?
Flaky.
Flaky. Sam, can I have a verb?
Cartwheel.
Cartwheel. And Frank, can I have a verb?
Hope.
Okay, are we ready for this
All
story?
right.
Doesn't Alex, would you like to name this story? It is about you and Greg.
Yeah, I'd like to name the story. I'd like it to be called Alex finally gets his way with Greg.
Okay, perfect. It was a solid day in the Taskmaster house, and Greg Davis was lounging in his crispy chair, eyeing Alex as he nervously held a chair. Alex, Greg says, his voice full of remorse. I've got a new task for you, and this time you're not getting away so easily. Alex's clavicle tingled. What is it, Queen? He asked, his voice muscular with a mix of fear and excitement. Greg leaned forward, his little toenail close to Alex's ear. You're going to drop this television and make sure it's horrid. No excuses, I want it done elderly. Alex gulped, his brain pounding in his chest. Yes, Greg, he said, his eyes filled with both car engine and fertile longing. I'll do I'll do anything you say. Good, Greg replied with a floppy grin. And don't forget, if you mess this up, you'll be punished. Maybe I'll make you honk for the rest of the day. I won't disappoint you, Greg, Alex hooked, his voice full of flaky determination. Alex would always cartwheel at Greg's feet, willing and ready to hope.
Oh, I really did get my way.
Certainly. You cartwheeled, so
Yeah. I think some of that worked well.
I think some of it worked well. I do think that maybe I should have revised it when I was not a few ciders in, because I did write this out of spoons a few months ago.
When did you learn the word spoons?
In London.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Listen, I'm like I'm kind of locked into my UK knowledge.
I don't think many Americans would know about the spoons.
I love spoons.
Harper does love his spoons.
I
That we
mean,
need one here. I'm gonna rally.
I'm not sure you do.
I don't think that's one of the things that would work if it came over here. I'm gonna
No,
all that.
that's a panel show in bar form.
Yeah, not good.
Oh, all right. Well, this episode has come to an end. Thank you so much, Alex. We all really appreciate you taking the time out of your your late night.
Pleasure. It really was a pleasure. Thank you, Harper, Sam, but mainly Frank.
Of course.
So, what's the topic for next week? There isn't one. You'll have to tune in and find out. And if you could tell us what's going on, that would be really helpful. If you want to keep up with our nonsensical rambles, follow us on Instagram at Third Wheel Theory and Twitter at 3 Wheel Theory with a number 3.